Hey guys, welcome to OwnThisLife TV, where you get weekly access to tips, tools, and insights around self-empowerment and motivation so you can dream up and dive into a life that lights you up. I'm your coach, Robyn Eckersley, and this is episode 2. Today we're going to be talking about your not to-do list. Let's get started. Now, the not to-do list is actually a concept that came to me when my husband, Tony, shared with me a tweet from the CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey. He says, the won't do list is often more important than the do list. Setting the intention to deliberately not work on something gives me clearer space to think and work and be less reactive. Some items stay on the list for days, weeks, months, and some I want to make sure I do every day. Now, if we want to be a fit for that future version of our life that lights us up, we got to grow into it. We're not ready as we are now to step into that reality tomorrow. We got to grow and shed some things along the way. That includes old habits, old mindsets, old routines and patterns that aren't going to be a fit for that ideal life that we want to be living. Now, some of those old habits and mindsets might include things like making assumptions about other people or other circumstances. It might be self-judgment. It might be reacting without thinking and running old behavior patterns. All of those we got to take a look at to see if we can take them with us into the next version of our life. The shedding of those habits and mindsets and behaviors is going to take two things. 1, attention, and 2, intention. First, we want to be paying attention to those habits and behaviors that are no longer serving us. So paying attention and noticing what we're doing, what kind of habits we're running, so that we can be aware of them in the first place. Secondly, we have to be intentional about choosing the habits and mindsets that we're going to be replacing as we grow. For example, you might notice when you start paying attention that the mindset you have going into certain meetings or work events might be a closed one, meaning you might go into those situations and meetings thinking, I already know this is a waste of time, this is pointless, this could have been resolved through an email. You might have those closed mindset thoughts running through your head automatically. First, pay attention. Notice what thoughts you're actually thinking. Then ask yourself if that pattern, if that mindset of being closed off and assuming that you already know everything, is that going to serve you as you move toward that life that lights you up? Since chances are you're going to need to be open-minded and creative and curious about everything as you move forward into this new life, that mindset of I already know this is a waste of time, those automatic thoughts, you want to be intentional about replacing those specifically and replacing them with more open-mindedness as you go into various obligations throughout your day. Then ask yourself, after you notice the thoughts, are these types of thoughts and behaviors going to serve me as I move forward into creating and stepping into that life that I really want? If they're not going to serve you and they might hinder you, then we want to be intentional about getting our hands on those thoughts and replacing them with more open-minded and expansive thinking instead. Before I go any further, has this been helpful so far? If it has, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the little bell to get notified when new content comes out, so you'll be the first to get more content around self-empowerment and motivation to help you grow going forward. Also, I've got a free accountability group to help you incorporate these tips and implement them into your daily life, but I'll tell you more about that at the end of the video. As you go about your day, noticing the thoughts and habits and mindset patterns that are running on automatic right now, be mindful. It's not about whether these are good or bad behaviors and patterns. They're simply about noticing and deciding whether they're going to be strategically serving you as you move forward into the life that you love. It's not about beating yourself up and saying, I shouldn't think this, or why do I do this? This is such a bad habit. We want to remove the vocabulary around good and bad. It's simply about, is this going to help me or is this going to hinder me as I step into that life that I really want? When you go about your day noticing and paying attention about the habits and mindsets that you are running automatically, ask yourself a couple of questions. Are you brushing certain people off? Are you automatically assuming certain people or judging them to be a certain way? Do you react predictably and regularly in the face of change? How do you typically manage stress and react to uncertain circumstances? Every time do you get dressed, do you run the same patterns of self-judgment and self-deprecation? All of these things are deeply ingrained behaviors and habits that it's time to take a look at and say, okay, this way of living, this way of thinking, are these habits going to help me as I move forward, or are they really going to make my progress toward that life that I want much harder than it has to be? Here's a chance to look underneath, pull back the covers and say, what's really going on here? How do I really think? How do I really interpret the world around me? And are these habits some that I want to take with me? Or do I want to be intentional about replacing them with habits and mindsets that are going to serve me better? Changing mental and emotional and behavioral habits and patterns takes a lot of time, and it takes intentional focus. That's the beauty of the not to-do list. You can keep those habits on the not to-do list to remind yourself, when this comes up, I can see it, I notice it, and I'm going to replace it with something else that's going to serve me as I grow into that future version of me so that I can step into and build the life that I really want. Because the version of you that exists today has built the life you have today. You're a perfect match. Now, as you grow, whatever mindsets and habits you're shedding, we want to be cognizant of them so that we can intentionally replace them. So my question to you is, what's one thing that you're going to put on your not to-do list that's going to help you grow into the person who's living the life that you really want to be living? Go ahead and share that in the comments below. Like I mentioned before, I have a free online group on Facebook called the OwnThisLife Goal Getters Group. Here, you can jump in and join the community. You can share the goals that you're working on. You can share your not to-do list. And I and the community are here to support you as you make these changes for yourself along the way. Because like I said before, it's not easy replacing old habits with new ones. And I don't know about you, but I, for one, could use all the help I can get, especially if it's a free Facebook group. Yes, please. I put the link to the group in the description below. Go ahead and join us. We'd love to have you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time there's new content out on this channel. And if this content might be useful to someone else in your life, feel free to share the video with them too. Thanks so much for tuning in to OwnThisLife TV. I'm your coach Robyn, and I look forward to seeing you every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific right here with new content and videos. Today is the perfect day to dream up and dive into a life that lights you up. Bye.